She's so sweet. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. I'm just going to switch the view and I'll do my best to let people in. I don't know why that happened. Hang on. We got somebody that I got to mute. Okay.
Mike, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're perfect.
Okay.
Linda's iPhone, Mike.
What's that?
Linda's iPhone.
Okay.
That needs a mute.
Linda iPhone. Okay. Linda's muted now. Let's see what it did. Okay. Sorry for the delay here, guys. There's just a lot of people joining and I've got to jump around from different screen to different screen. Okay. Yeah, I see Mark now. David, can you say something for me?
Yeah, testing 1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, guys, we're going to get started. Thanks everybody for joining us. Again, please mute your phone. Mute your Zoom call. The only people that should be unmuted are David Heavener and myself. We got a lot going on right now. We got a lot going on in the world right now. I truly believe that we are witnessing the fall of America. It's coming. We are just, it's just horrible what is being done by our government and the moves that they're making. And if you read all the news, you'll see that the Biden administration is talking about having vaccine passports necessary to cross state borders now. We know what that is. That's Germany. That's World War II right there. And the draconian things that are going on in our country are frightening. So it's really time for us to improvise, adapt, and overcome. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight with David, is the underground church and what is happening and what we need to do. Now, having said that, and I don't want anyone to panic when I tell you this tonight. Now I gotta mute. Please mute your call. Please mute your call. Okay, who's not muted? There it is. Okay. Someone else is not muted. Mute. You guys are killing me here.
Yeah, go to the last screen and you'll see 2 in there, Mike.
Mike, if the phone person doesn't know how to mute their phone, it's *6.
Jeannie keeps getting kicked out. Okay, well, we're just gonna have to go for it. All right, so is everybody muted now?
Apostle Dr. Hills, DM Floyd.
Okay, let's see.
That's the last one.
All right, hang on, guys. All right, you know what, David? I'm just gonna mute everyone and you're gonna have to unmute yourself, okay?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and unmute yourself, David.
There we go.
All right. Okay. Barbara, who just joined, please mute. Okay, so let's just, as I was saying, look at the world around us is crumbling down. What we did in Afghanistan is going to ruin our country's reputation worldwide. As I said earlier, I completely agree that we should have gotten out of Afghanistan. I just have been handled the way it was handled. So we need to prepare for that as the church and see what it is that we need to do, which again, sorry, I keep getting distracted because I keep getting messages from people about they can't get on with something like that. So I'm just going to ignore it for right now. I don't want you guys to freak out, but I need to let you all know that the San Diego conference that we are putting on will be the last big conference like that Hear the Watchmen does. Through prayer and a lot of other things, we have come to the conclusion that we need to do something different to equip the body of Christ. So what we're going to be doing is really building the Zoom fellowships, adding a couple of more Zoom fellowships to fit the people in California. We are going to do, we will still be putting on events, but what we're going to do is step it up a little bit. We're going to do smaller events across the country that are going to be workshops where we teach, and we have people like David who will come in and they will teach and will actually give you things and teach you ways to get in action. Jamie Walden at Omega Dynamics and I are going to get together, and we are going to really put a curriculum together for our Safe Haven initiative so that we can go into the towns across America and we can teach people how to be effective in creating a safe haven. So these will be smaller gatherings. We'll continue to do stuff on demand and to get you guys some of the things you want. But, you know, it has come, we have come to a time, and I'm just trying to give you the background on why we made this decision. We have come to a time where the hotels don't want to work with us anymore, you know, and they're putting really extreme demands on us, and they are not, their prices are going up, and it's not economically feasible to do these conferences in a big hotel in that fashion. And it's also, for a lot of people, it's just impossible to travel right now. I mean, you don't want to, or you can't. So we're going to bring Hear the Watchmen to you rather than ask you to come to us. And we feel that that's what God has led us to do. So we will be revamping everything, but we are absolutely not going away. We're just reloading and getting ready for the battle ahead. So I just want everybody to know that. And again, please don't freak out. We thank all of you who have contributed and have helped, our patrons especially. If you're not a Hear the Watchmen patron, we need you now more than ever. So go to hearthewatchmen.com, click the patron button, and please help us in any way you can. Mark Runyon has been gracious enough to agree to assist me in us doing a capital campaign. We do it once a year, and Mark's going to help me to put that together. We are asking, if it's in your heart, when we announce that, for one-time donations to cover the cost of equipment and things that we need to take this Hear the Watchmen out on the road to small towns across America and truly, truly motivate, educate, and put the remnant body of Christ into action. So I'm excited about it. Jamie's excited about it. Jeannie's excited about it. It's a lot of work ahead, but it's the way we're going to have to go from here on out. You know, it is what it is. So if you want that experience that we've provided since 2016, I think it is, you got to get out to San Diego, because that's it. Everything from there on is going to be small gatherings where it's going to be teaching. You know, it's like the event we did in Long Island with Russ Dizdar, intensive spiritual warfare training. Well, that's what we're going to do. The same thing that we did there, we're just going to take it out in small gatherings across the country. So without further ado, David Heavener. I met David, I think, in Boise, Idaho, quite a few years back. He came to one of our conferences, and I'm just so grateful because he has blossomed, and he has David Heavener TV. He's doing The Last Evangelist, which is a TV show that he's totally produced, put together. We'll talk a little bit about that. And he's just out there on fire for Jesus, doing some of the things that I'm talking about doing. And we were on David's show last night. I highly suggest you check out David Heavener TV so that you can start joining his broadcast. and go from there. This is exciting, man. We have a full house now. We're at 100 participants, which is, I think, about as far as we can go. Oh, Jeannie just corrected me. Big surprise. That we met David in Knoxville, Tennessee. So, my memory is shot. So I always defer to Jeannie to keep me on track. David, we're going to be talking about the church in America, the underground church in America tonight, which you're very much in tune to. So go ahead. I'm going to turn it over to you. And then after David's done in about a half hour, we'll open it up to questions and answers, and David can take your questions. So go ahead, David, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Mike and Jeannie. God bless you both in your ministry. And it sounds really exciting what you're doing for the future. Last Evangelist I wrote about 3 years ago. There's 6 episodes right now. There'll continue to be more. But the first episode was all about, I play a cop in a world where the government was putting restrictions on churches and basically closing them down to the point they had to be licensed, they had to be registered. So my job was to go in and bust these underground churches until God speaks to me, and kind of like the road to Damascus, and I hear God, and he speaks, "Why are you persecuting my people?" So with the Bible in one hand and God in the other, I set out to find the Antichrist. We deal with Mark of the Beast, cashless society, and other situations that we are encountering now, or we're getting ready to encounter. So let's talk specifically about the underground church. In the episode, and what God downloaded to me over 3 years ago, would be a situation where the churches would fall into a place where they would be under government control. And how does this happen? Exactly the way it's happening now. It's happening through the medical system, which you've got the COVID, and then you got, we call it the V, or the jab. Not sure exactly what I can say here, Mike, to keep this on the air. But it's not just going to be that. That's just the beginning. And by the way, don't think that this is over. Don't think that this is the last of the strands. You're going to have many, many more strands. You're going to have many, many more boosters. But also, one of the hits the church is going to take big time is going to be, and we know this, hate speech. The California tried to pass a bill, an AB bill, about 2 years ago. They got it through the assembly. I heard about it. I released a video on it. It went viral. And this video dealt with California passing a law overnight. They started on a Friday night and they wanted to have it completed on Monday, that would basically ban the Bible. Now, they didn't say ban the Bible. They said ban any literature or any teaching that would separate a person from their preferred sexual preference, okay, or their preferred sexual gender, okay. So anyway, this stopped, okay, but it's going to start up again. The Bible will be illegal. If you read the Bible, you'll see it is directly opposite of the Antichrist, and who is running this system that we are encountering is the Antichrist. It's the Antichrist system. So Mike, if you have questions, you want to jump in, go ahead, because you may have something on your mind.
Sure. What I want you to do, David, if you wouldn't mind, for a second, give us a rundown on what it is that The Last Evangelist is all about, and why in the world you would determine that that is what the Lord was leading you to do.
Well, I saw this coming a long time ago, Mike. I've been in California like you have for many years, and I've seen some scary things happen. And being in the film industry, I understand what it's taught. When I talk about prime target programming, Hollywood mind control, I know what that means because I was a part of it. Hollywood has been doing mind control on people for many, many, many years. Coming out of California, I experienced satanic ritual abuse, so much demonic activity, channeling, astral projection, program multiples. All of this stuff was real to me years ago. It just took a group like here, the Watchmen, to bring speakers together for me to formulate it in my mind to see it manifest. Okay. So I knew this was happening a long time ago. I guess God, if he didn't take a rock and use a rock or a donkey, he decided to use me. So he downloaded this information to me in an attic one night. I was fixing up an old house in Atlanta, Georgia. And I was sleeping in the attic because it's the only warm place to sleep during the winter. And I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and he downloaded the script. And I basically wrote almost all 6 episodes that night and through the next day. I knew in my heart that the first thing that was going to happen is the restrictions on the church. And I'll tell you why. The first thing the enemy goes after is the spiritual nature of the man. Okay. Now, we have 2 things. We have real faith, God faith, the true believers, the remnant, which is you and I believe most of the people on the call listening. Then you have the religious system. Okay. Do not get the 2 mixed up, because this is where it's going to get complicated. And this is why only God's elect will be able to understand this. Okay. They had to attack faith. They've got to cripple faith in order to get to where they need to go. Once they cripple faith, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, they move into the religious system. Now, why do they want a religious system? Because it's a system that already has millions of people sucked into it. And the Antichrist is already into the religious system. Okay, we're talking about, and I don't want to get into details on things, but you guys know that. We're talking about the Pope. We're talking about the New Apostolic Reformation Church, and I could go on and on and on. That is the Antichrist religious system. Many, many churches have already fallen into that. Many, many pastors are in it, teaching from it. So they want that system because they know they can never tear people from what they think is God. So they want to have a religious system. So that's what we're dealing with. But now let's talk about God's system, the faith system, the true system, which is where we are. And this is what is in episode 2. I'll give a little hint. What happens in episode 2 is people have to take a vaccination before they take the insertion. The insertion is, in this world, the mark of the beast is a system, but the insertion is the actual injection you get in you, okay, for the mark of the beast. For people to not take this vaccine and not take the insertion, they will go off into geographical areas. God will bring, I'm believing God is now bringing his people into certain areas of the country geographically, very strategically. And when this happens at a certain time and place, I believe there's going to be a thing called the 4 angels, which I have in Last Evangelist. These 4 angels dictate the wind. These 4 angels are going to watch over communities geographically that come together in the name of Jesus. And I want to read something to you in Revelation. This is Revelation 7:1. It says, "After this, I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds of the earth, that no wind might blow on earth or sea or against any tree." Matthew 24:31 says, "And he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call. They will gather his elect from the 4 winds, one from one end of heaven to the other." I was in Last Evangelist, various parts of the country and the world, and our communities are going to be guarded by angels. I think we'll be supernaturally protected, where the government will try to penetrate and come in. They won't be able to do it. I believe God's going to show those kind of signs and wonders and miracles.
Well, David, I couldn't agree with you more. I really couldn't. As we look at what's going on, and everything that's unfolding with the C-19 and the Delta and all that stuff, it all at this point seems to be falling into the plan that we've all followed and we've been aware of for some time. We see food shortages, we see gas prices going up, inflation running rampant. With all of this, combined with all of this, I should say, is this gigantic effort to shut up the Christian voice. And look, you guys know I didn't earn my name as the machine gun preacher for nothing. It pisses me off. And it makes me want to fight and fight hard. And it's time for all of us as a remnant body to rise up. We need the whole body to rise up and be warriors as we move into this, covered in the full armor of God. What do you think it is that's the most important thing for us to get busy and do as we go into these very, very frightening times?
The first thing we have to do is understand that Jesus talked about this in Matthew 24. It's been a long time coming, but the apostate church, the wimpy churches, the pussycat preachers, they have not taught this. That's by design, okay? So number one is we need to go into our prayer closet, all right? I'm gonna encourage you guys not to team up with anyone and pray. Pray yourself, okay? Start with yourself. Say, God, bring me prayer partners. Be careful who you pray with. Be very careful, because in these last days, there'll be a lot of deception. There'll be a lot of people that will say, yes, I am part of what you are, and I do believe, but they won't, okay? Families will turn against one another. Jesus talked about this. We have to pray, get down on our knees, and we pray, Lord, this is an altar call. I'm coming to your altar, but then get up off your knees and make it a roll call. Reveille, a wake up, all right? So the first thing is prayer. The second thing, Mike, and a lot of people aren't gonna like what I say, but we just eat way too much food. I mean, food is just it's very important to me, but I've been doing this intermittent fasting for about 2 or 3 years, maybe even longer, where I only eat in the evening between 6 and 9. And it really helps me. It helps. And then I try to fast every once in a while for 1 day. 2 days is really tough, but I try it. But fasting is so important. So prayer and fasting. The third thing is we need to wake up, we need to watch, and we need to warn. That's very important. And also too, Mike, it's important to understand, I'm getting people to send me all these videos. A lot of it's sensationalism. A lot of it is kind of like stuff I might put in Last Evangelist, but I wouldn't. It's just not real, folks. A lot of these videos we get, it's sent out by the enemy because it's called a diversion. If he can create sensationalism, I'm talking about Satan, and have you watching it, he's doing something over here that you can't see, all right? So what we need to be careful of now is, besides deception, deceivers coming into our space, we have to be careful of diversions. We're in a time of diversion. I'll talk about Afghanistan a little bit, but I'll just give you a little hint. I believe Afghanistan, there's a part of it that's a diversion, okay? We are so bottled up over nonsense, scamdemic, that the enemy has to create a diversion to keep our mind off of that for a little while so we don't blow a fuse. But while we're watching this, be careful, because they're planning the next level of their agenda.
Well, there's no doubt, David. There's absolutely no doubt. It's if you just look at what they do, it started out with the C-19, then it moves into, now we have a vaccine, everything's great. Now it's moved into a Delta variant. Now it's moved into vaccinated people need to wear masks, and vaccinated people are getting COVID, to now there's a I forget what they call it, the next variant that they're talking about. And in the meantime, they throw in Afghanistan, and there's killer mosquitoes out there. So it's all this mass plan to get you to not do anything. And you know, there's all these reports
Right.
about pregnant women and how pregnant women are passing it on to the fetus, and how now we need to deal with that. So if you don't get,
Excuse me, Mike, I have to interrupt you. You are very politically incorrect, my friend. It's pregnant people. You didn't hear,
that's right.
you did not hear the head of
Pregnant people.
CDC. That's, excuse me, thank you. I feel better now.
Yeah,
Thank you
good,
very
good,
much.
good. Yeah, and it's pregnant people, and boys that don't know if they're boys, girls that don't know if they're girls, and both of them that don't know if what they are of anything. So that's the times we live in, and it's apocalyptic. It just truly is. What's going on right now is apocalyptic. But the way to get back to where we want to be is through Jesus, David. And
Yeah.
you know, that's where we need to be. We need to be with Jesus. And folks,
Yeah.
again, we need your help. David and I and Jamie and Steve Quill and all these people, we can't do this alone. And sometimes I will admit, and David, I know you feel this way, it feels like we're all alone out there. It truly does.
Yeah.
And we need your help, which is why I keep pushing. Please help us on Patreon. Please help us. We are going to embark on this mission in the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And just like Jamie did in Colorado, I have no clue where we're going to find the funds to do this and how it's going to work. I am tired of charging people like huge amounts of money to come to these things. You know, I don't know where it's going to come from, but I know the Lord will provide. You know,
Amen.
Because God's got this. I mean, I was laughing with someone today because we were talking about all this, and I said, God's got this. And then I followed it up with, and you know, it's a good thing because look what a mess we made of it. You know, look what a mess we made of it.
Yeah.
So David, as you know, we talk about the underground church, and we have about 10 more minutes, and then we got to go to questions. But we talk about the underground church. Now, when I talk about that to people, they envision China, where the Christians in China have to hide out underneath the buildings, kind of like your series. But you know, and I'm still waiting to play a homeless guy on your series, dude. I have experience in that.
You got it.
But you know, that's really not what we're talking about. We're talking about creating a network of people. This Zoom call is now the underground church. How do you perceive what the underground church will look like?
Well, good question. Let me back up a little bit and kind of give you a big picture. I don't know, people don't understand that social media, big social media giants, I named one the other day in an interview, and I'm not going to do it again because I want to be careful. But the big social media giants that you and I are on meet with the CDC once a month. Now, why do they meet with the CDC? What do they have anything to do with the CDC? They say they want to make sure they adhere to guidelines. What in the world? Do you think I'm an idiot? What? So what we're dealing with, folks, is we're dealing with two systems. We're dealing with the system of Christ. We're dealing with the system of the Antichrist. There is no other system. It's only two systems, all right? So the reason you're having problems with conferences, and it's not just Mike, you and Jeannie, it's everybody. I'm talking real people, real Christians and real conferences, not the make-believe stuff, is the government is now coming down on hotels and dictating what hotels can and can't do. And in between the lines, if you're doing what you're doing, you and Jeannie, guess what? It's going to be harder for you to work with certain hotels, okay, under the auspice of hate speech, or you can cherry pick whatever fruit you want to pick off the tree. So you've got that. I'm doing a conference in a couple of weeks, big conference, and Ticketmaster just canceled it and gave back all the ticket sales. But the promoters are saying, we're going to do it donation only, doing everything they can to shut these people down. So it's happening all over. So we've got to understand that we have to stay in God's system. Now, God's system is a system of supernatural miracles, signs, and wonders. It's the true signs and wonders system. The Antichrist only has counterfeit, lying signs and wonders, okay? So we have to understand what those lying signs and wonders are and stay in God's camp, which is the true signs and wonders. And the way we're going to be able to survive, I believe, is only through the supernatural. You and I are going to be looking at each other and the people here on the call and go, wow, did you believe that? God performed that miracle. I mean, he actually parted that sea and we walked through it. This is the only way we're going to start living our life. So if we've got to be a believer in the supernatural, and I mean signs and wonders in our face manifesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, David. Folks, it's time for us to improvise, adapt, and overcome. You have to do something uncomfortable. You're going to have to get out of the comfort zone. That's where we are. David didn't put us there. I didn't put us there, but God can help you to do that. And God will be with you when you're uncomfortable. You're doing something a little bit right. You've got to get out there and do it. And someone put in, we need bed and breakfast across the country. Well, that's exactly what Jamie and I are trying to establish in a way with our Faith Haven initiative. Again, there'll be more on that. So
Mike, one thing before I forget it, because if I don't say it, I'll forget it. Pardon me. But you asked me, what does that look like? And, you've got the Zoom call. I have David having her live on Monday nights. We have these things. These things are going to stand depending on what platform they're on. And I teach us this in the Hollywood Mind Control Seminar. Look at the platform you're on. Just be careful where you build your platform, because if it's on quicksand, meaning it's a platform that can be taken over very, very quickly, you got to be careful of that. That's why I went to Roku, Amazon, Apple. We have davidheavener.tv. I encourage you guys to go sign up. But the reason I'm there is because when they take us off the rest of the platforms, that platform is still going to exist. Why? Because that's where the head guys live. They never blow up their own castle. Okay. God gave me enough knowledge in the film industry to understand distribution. This is where Netflix operates. This is where all the biggies are. So it's a good place to be. I'm not saying Zoom's not. That's not what I'm talking about. But watch your platform.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just time for us all to stop talking about all this and get into action. It truly is. So look, I'm going to stop the recording here, David, so people can freely ask you questions. And I'm going to ask Jeannie to help me out if she's still connected. Jeannie, wave or something. Okay, she's still connected. She's not answering her text messages, but she's still connected. She was engrossed in what you were saying, David. I'm going to cut it off on the recording, but before I do, God bless everybody. God bless this family on this call. And please go to Hear the Watchmen, MEN.com. If you can't make it out to San Diego, California in September, choose the on-demand live stream option and get signed up for that. But if you live in California, Arizona, Idaho, Utah, if you live in Oregon, Washington, there's no excuse. You can get there. You can do it. It's drivable. So please, this is your last chance. I really mean it. It's your last chance. It breaks my heart, but it is the last chance, and it's time to move in a different direction. So get busy. So we're going to go ahead.
I know, Mike, we have a lot of, I have some of my people that are on the call tonight.
Jeannie, can you mute your phone, please? Thank you.
Can you hear
Sorry.
me?
I just got it. Go ahead, David.
Yeah.
No, I said we have quite a few of our people that's on the call tonight. And I want to encourage you guys, if you can, make it out. And this isn't about me, so forgive me. I don't want to step across the line, Jeannie or Mike, but I told the people, I said, if they do sign up, they'll get a discount if they use my name.
Absolutely.
And I want them to sign up. I think, what is it, Heaven or 20 or something? Is that what it is?
20.
Heaven or 20.
If you sign up
Uh,
and use the code
Steve-
720, you will get $20 off your general admission ticket. So it's a way that you can save some money. So get busy and do it. And really, David, they need to be there to see you.
You do. You listen, guys, listening to me, girls, be there if you can, any way possible. This may be the last one. We don't know how many more of these get-togethers we're going to have, and I feel like this one's going to be anointed. So anyway, there you go.
Awesome. All right, guys, I'm going to turn the recording off now. Again, the website for those that are viewing this recorded is hearthewatchmen.com. My personal email address is mikekerr777@gmail.com. I would appreciate if all of you on the call would get involved and send me a note to that email address. Let me know what you think about what we're doing and where we're going with this. Your opinion and your input is important to us. So we're going to go off recording now. Stand by.